Ready? We're good to go? Ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Let's do it.
Yeah, kid, welcome everybody back to another episode of Smells Like Cappy with Handsome. I'm your host, Charles Weinraub, aka the Handsome Homebuyer, formerly Captain Permit, no longer Captain Permit, Greg. So just to let everybody know, obviously I created Captain Permit 4 years ago out of necessity, necessity being the mother of all invention. Couldn't get my permits done, built Captain Permit, just sold it to the COO of Captain Permit, Mike Arado, aka the real Captain Permit, and my brother-in-law, Ryan Griffin. They've taken over as of August 1st, and they're taking it to another level. I'm super proud of them. Thank you guys very much for supporting us through this entire process over the last 4 years. Do you have permit problems?
Not right now. I did.
Do you ever get permit problems?
Huh? I did. My last deal had a permit problem.
Well, if you have a permit problem, Captain Permit, 516-513-8838. Obviously, if you have a house that smells like cat pee, you have any house that smells like cat pee?
Not right now.
Fuck.
Sorry.
Well, if you do,
I know who to call.
I want to buy it. 516-777 sold. All right, so we are on the top 20 under 40 train. About a month and a half ago, we had the gala. I did not see you there. I looked, it was madness.
I think I saw you, but you were always talking to somebody.
It was madness. There was like 500 people there, and then all of a sudden, like everybody was gone.
I know.
I wanted to get my dance on. Did you dance?
I didn't. I feel like I was just mingling.
And then, yeah.
And the photos and the 360.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I did that maybe like 5 times.
So it was a great event. YPN did an awesome job. John McSherry and everybody. So I've been podcasting with everybody, and I got to tell you, like I was telling you before offline, the most impressive group of people by far. No disrespect to the former top 20 under 40 winners, but this group is just, it's kind of like the generations, right? I feel like if we have kids or when we have kids one day, they're supposed to be better than us and keep it going. So the people that I've been interviewing, I mean, it was, from what I understand, the most competitive class. I think it was like 100, and there was like hundreds. I forget the exact number. Craig, you remember the number? No? I don't know either. It was worth a shot. Most competitive class, highest GCI, and the people that come in here that won are like fucking rock stars.
Well, thank you.
Absolute rock stars. So kudos to you.
Appreciate it.
So without further ado, you've been in the business for 4 years.
Yes.
Miss Katherine Azeez. You are with ERA Top Service Realty.
Yes.
Out of Queens Village. Queens Village, right?
Yep.
Recently won the Leader Circle Award 2 years in a row?
So 2021 I got it, which was my first time. Big accomplishment for me.
So
And
just so everybody knows, tell them what that is.
so Leader Circle is within the ERA franchise. Once you hit, I want to say it's 10 mil in sales, you are awarded
For the year.
For the year.
Got it.
Exactly. Once you hit 10 mil in sales, then you are a part of the club, the Leader Circle Club.
So, like, first thing I lead into, because I've been asking everybody this, you're top 20 under 40, which means everybody wants to be you. You know that. So it's 38,000 realtors on Long Island. Everybody wants to be you. They want to know, how did she do it in the most competitive year of top 20 under 40? So the question is, how did you do it?
A lot of hustle. Well, yeah, a lot of hustle. I mean, for me, I'm very structured when it comes to the day-to-day. So I feel like in our business, a lot of people, we get into it and it's like, we can make our own hours, we can make our own schedules, right?
Be a realtor, they say.
Yeah,
it's easy, they say.
And then, in the beginning, it's like, great, okay, you're making your own hours, you're making your own schedule, but I feel like it's also still so important to have structure.
Yeah.
So for me, doing a little bit of real estate every single day keeps me on pace.
Do you consider yourself a very structured person? Are you a very organized person?
Yes and no. Like, I only recently started using Google Calendar.
Okay. What does your closet look like? Like, are you the type of person that has shoes in boxes with Polaroid pictures on them stacked perfectly?
No.
Got it. Okay.
No. Maybe one day. Hopefully one day.
Can you see the floor in the closet, or does it just look like a tornado?
It's a balance. So I can see the floor, but it's not like labeled.
Got it. Okay, that's good.
But yeah, I mean, I keep a lot of notes. I use my notepad. That's my go-to.
Oh, you're a throwback. You use paper?
Very no, like my phone notepad.
Oh, okay. All right.
But sometimes pen and paper too. I'm a little old school, I guess, but I'm starting to understand, using Google Calendar better, integrating it with your Gmail and all that good stuff. But yeah, for me, I structure myself. The night before, I always think of every single thing that I need to do. I write it down. And then during the day, it's like, okay, check. Finish that, did that.
So
And
I can attest, I can attest to the hustle from an Instagram perspective. So obviously we follow each other. I see you pop up every day and I'm like, look at this girl. I'm like, she's in like Montauk in the morning. She's in Queens in the afternoon. And then now she's back. And then there's like a beautiful sunset, like, 37 showings today, about to pass out. And then the next thing you see is like 5 a.m. on the treadmill.
I love it.
So I know you're from Guyana originally. Well, not your family is.
Yeah.
You're first generation.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
Where do you feel like the hustle comes from?
Definitely both my parents. My dad, he came into this country. I mean, he started in kind of like a factory setting, just moving boxes from the trucks into the factories, things like that. And then he worked his way up to studying, getting his degrees and whatnot, and now he's in investment banking.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no.
Good for him.
Yeah, so awesome.
So he came here, he immigrated to this country, moving boxes, went to school, got his degree, now he's in investment banking.
Not even a degree. Like literally, when I ask him, I'm like, so how do you know so much? Because my dad is like the encyclopedia. Like you ask him one thing and he'll tell you, he'll like drift and go on to a whole new topic of things. So he's very wide when it comes to that education perspective, but mostly just because he reads a lot.
Yeah.
And he'll go on Google and he'll just start Googling like random stuff. But yeah, so my dad's in investment banking. My mom, she is in sales. So she works for a dental implant company that they pretty much make the material for, like, let's say you want to have a root canal, right? They make the parts for it.
Got it.
So I guess the sales part maybe from her because she has that. But yeah, both my parents, they're both hustlers. They came into this country with pretty much nothing, and they've made a successful life for themselves,
Nice.
and for us, for both my sister and I.
So everybody that I've interviewed so far is very interesting. Like I take a few, there's a lot of things I learned, but there's usually like 2 or 3 like big things that they have as far as the way they approach their marketing or their branding or customers or whatever. The thing I love about you that we were talking about before is obviously
Got a brand.
You're dynamite on the branding. So the shirt, thank you very much for that.
Of course.
Your slogan is awesome. Well, I'm now dubbing it your slogan, whether it is or not. I think it should be everywhere. I think it should be on shirts. I think it's
I gotta start doing it.
which is if you're serious, I'm serious.
Yeah,
So
100%.
the point that you were making before is like I was going to ask you, do you have like an area that you farm or stick to? And your answer was like, I'll go anywhere. If you're serious, I'm serious. So if it's a $200,000 co-op in Queens, I'm there. Or if it's like a $2 million property in Montauk, I'm cool.
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they have an area that they farm and they kind of start from there. So they'll have like one town and they'll be the mayor or mayoress of that town and they'll kind of break out from that. What was your strategy? Like, again, you've only been doing this for 4 years. You won that award, Leader Circle, twice, 2 years in a row. So 2 out of the 4 years, you're at 10 million or higher, which is insanely impressive.
Yeah.
Right? Like say an average deal is $500,000. You're 20 plus deals, which a lot of people be like, oh, math, 20 deals. Like 20 deals is not easy.
No. Especially, last year was great. The volume was there. People wanted to buy. So it was my traffic was there. Even so much now, like the first half of this year, pretty much helped, which is why Leader Circle for 2022, when I did the numbers, it just so happened that I was like, oh wow, I just made it right above 10 mil
Nice.
Last Friday. So I was like, cool. But yeah, I feel like the traffic was there last year, and between branding and marketing and obviously just through referrals as well, it was a fantastic year.
So what are you doing to really drive business? Like, what do you think is your everyone seems to be really good at like one thing and then there's other things they do, but like there's someone we interviewed that's like amazing with cold calling. Someone just like is, a networking person. Somebody just door knocks all day, every day. I mean, to achieve the level that you have in the period of time that you have, what are you actually doing to get the deals?
So I would say, honestly, most of the deals that I do is from Instagram. It's generated through Instagram, which
Really?
is like the biggest blessing.
And so of 100% of your deals, what percent roughly would you say is coming through Instagram?
I would say about 90%.
No way.
Yeah.
Through paid stuff or just organic
No,
posting?
everything I do is organic.
Wow.
Not to say, like, I would love to start, throwing money in and doing, sponsor ads and things like that, which I probably will.
It's cheap. It could be whatever you want. It could be $1 a day. Like we
Yeah.
do them at like $1 a day, and they bring deals in.
Wow, yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's really not that bad. And, you know, referrals as well. And my office does provide leads.
So how long have you been doing the Instagram thing for? This is fascinating.
Yeah, so Instagram, I mean, I've had Instagram since I was in college.
Okay.
So let's say 2012.
But so you're in real estate for 4 years. When did you start using Instagram as a tool?
Okay. Once I started using it as a tool was when I started real estate, which was in 2018.
Okay, so you got into real estate, and immediately you're like, all right, I'm going to use Instagram to generate deals.
Yeah.
And how did you do that?
And I think, I mean, when I started doing that, I think that's when we started following each other too.
Yeah.
I mean, first, I used to just go around, and any house that I would see, I would just do like general tours.
Okay.
And I would just, oh, you know, I'm in Comac, or I'm in Queens Village looking at this house, right? And I would just get comments. Like people would DM me and say, oh, that's a really nice house. Like, show us more, do this, do that. And from there, I kind of just kept running with it. I would keep doing the house tours, but now, more so when I was getting listings, or even when I was working with buyers, I would post what we were doing. We're at a home inspection. I'm like, hey guys, say hi. You know, how do you guys feel about this? Things like that. And I guess when people see that others are participating, they also feel more comfortable with reaching out to you as well. They can see who I am.
Yeah.
So my social media, my personal and my business are together.
I'm the same way, yeah.
So I don't separate them. So who you see online is who you're going to get in person.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people relate to that.
No, it's cool. And it makes sense. Like when I think about seeing your social media, it's like, it's a nice blend of the both, right? Because sometimes, like my social media is all business, but sometimes people say to me like, hey, listen, it would be nice to see like what goes on in your personal life, so we know that you're not a robot that works like 22 hours a day. So you seem, when I think about it, you have like a really nice blend of people feel comfortable with you because they feel like they know you in a personal setting, and then they see what you're doing in business, and obviously they want to work with you.
Exactly. Like I got on a buyer consultation call, like 2 days ago, and they were like, I saw you went to Jamaica. Like, where did you stay when you went to Jamaica? And I'm like, oh, okay. So we had, like, before we even got into the consultation, we just had a 10-minute conversation just on my trip to Jamaica.
Yeah, you guys are connected. That's it. They're hooked.
And they feel like they genuinely know you. And that's awesome.
Is it mostly buyers coming off Instagram or sellers? What is your kind of mix in regards to what you do? Are you more buyer heavy, seller heavy, or is it like a healthy mix of kind of 50-50?
Good question. It is more buyer heavy.
Okay.
Most of my first time home buyers comes from Instagram.
Got it.
Listing leads, either through the office or through referrals.
Okay.
Like, in 4 years, I know it's crazy, but like 2 of my clients that I sold to when I first started the business, I sold their house, bought them another house. So now I'm starting to see that repeat business a little bit.
Exactly.
We work with, my office, we have a referral source through Cardis.
Okay. Through what?
Through Cardis. And
what is Cardis?
Actually, no. Well, Cardis is a separate referral source that we go through. But we also go through like Navy Fed and things like that, which is VA referrals. Okay. So we work with a lot of veterans, which is awesome. And the best thing, one of the good things about them is like they move around a lot. So you sell them a house and they'll need to.
So they'll come in, buy a house, and then leave 2 years later and go somewhere else and sell it?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, sometimes just because of their jobs and where they're located at the time. I sold a house to somebody that he was on duty in like Korea. Okay. Or I don't remember, Korea, Japan, one of those. And we would FaceTime. I would show him these properties, FaceTime, send him videos, send him pictures. And that's how he purchased the house.
Sight unseen.
Sight unseen. Like the craziest thing. But, you develop trust with somebody, and I would give him my honest opinion. I would say, I did not like that house. It looks good, but it's faulty.
When he showed up and bought the house and eventually saw it, was it everything he thought it would be?
Yeah. Yeah, he loved it. It worked out. Another time I had somebody that they were on vacation. I saw a house. They liked it. They wanted me to check it out. So I told them I saw it, and they wanted to put in an offer. We ended up winning the offer, and the first time they saw it was at the home inspection.
Wow.
I was like so scared. I was like at the home inspection, like,
they're gonna come in and be like, what did you do?
Yeah, and I'm like, please, guys, be honest with me. If you don't like the house, we
Just
do
tell me.
not need
Let's
to
go.
proceed. Like, we really don't. And no, they ended up really liking the house. They bought the house. We closed on it, and
It's crazy how it's just becoming a virtual world. So it's interesting though, because you've been in real estate only 4 years, but you've kind of you've been in a roller coaster as far as markets go. So
Yeah.
you came in pre-COVID, so that was kind of like slowing down market a little bit. Then it was COVID, where it's like, holy shit, like, are we gonna have a job? Then all of a sudden it just exploded into complete pandemonium for like a year and a half of just madness, which I'm gonna ask you how you handled the buyers in a second during that, because that must have been really, really hard.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, is the world coming to an end? Are we good? Like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
So kind of, just kind of explain the emotional roller coaster that you've been on
Yeah,
in
no.
regards to the market in the last 4
when
years.
you break it down, honestly, it really was a roller coaster ride. Like, when I first started, obviously it was slow. I just started. I got into the business and I actually knew nobody in real estate. So I came in very green, very appreciative of the person that brought me into the company, and my broker as well, who's also my mentor. So yeah, initially it was slow. They even told me, they were like, Kat, keep your full-time job until you have some deals in the pipeline. And
What did you do before this?
before this, I was in human resources.
Okay.
So I worked a 9-to-5 job. Nothing against 9-to-5, but it just wasn't for me.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is, like, again, a lot of people that are very good at this are people.
Yeah.
Right? So, like I always say, like, cops, bartenders, they always crush it. You were in HR, obviously you have to deal with people all day. You have good communication skills. You could be really great in sales,
I agree.
real estate.
I agree. Totally agree. So I came in, and you know what? It was slow because I didn't know anybody. I was young too. I was like 24 when I first started. And at the time, I mean, most people 24, they were renting probably or still living at home. But I knew we were approaching the age bracket of like, they're going to be buying.
Got it.
So my first deal, it was a lead that came through our office. And I worked with these people night and day. That was like the only thing I did for 24/7. I was like,
I feel like the first deal is the hardest. You're giving it everything.
yeah, I gave it everything. I would be like on the computer like 9 o'clock at night, like, oh my God, okay, this just hit the market. Like, we got to take a look at it. And they were, they were awesome. But I told them, I was like, this is my first deal, and they were like, this is great because this is our first house, so it works out well.
That's very cool.
But anyways, where were we even going with the story?
I don't. We don't have a direction. We just go. So
We just go.
I want to ask you this actually. So you did 10 million plus in volume in the middle of COVID, right? You work primarily with buyers because that's just the strategy,
Yeah.
and it works. But it was like damn near impossible to get a house. There was like a house at the market. Like, I was buying anything. And usually I'm like very particular and conservative, but I was literally buying anything because I'm like, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna come in and pay like 50 grand over ask, whatever you ask. It was nuts. But for agents representing buyers, it was a nightmare.
It was tough.
You're sitting online with like 70 people. There's like 30 offers on every house. So, but obviously you're closing deals, right? So what did you do to stand out and get your buyers' offers accepted in that kind of environment?
Terms is huge. I feel like even with FHA, right? Like, I was able to get an FHA offer to the closing table. Honestly, just one, but still successful in a market like that. But yeah, really putting the buyers in the best possible light to the listing agents and the sellers, right?
Okay.
I would always ask them up front. I'd be like, okay, listen, I understand you're looking to put, let's say they're doing 10% down, right?
Okay.
But let's say they're putting 10% down because that's what they feel comfortable with, but they have reserves.
Okay.
Right? I want to know how much reserves you have, because I
Okay.
want to say like, okay, listen, we're going in 10%, but they do have reserves. We're willing to waive whatever they felt comfortable with.
Okay.
In regards to an appraisal contingency or
Got
something
it.
along those lines. And at the end of the day, during a market like that, in
That was
order for
every
you to-
day. That was
yeah,
every day. It was like,
you had to,
yeah,
you know,
they were waiving everything, appraisal waivers, anything.
yeah, but I was also very methodical. So
Okay.
it was one of those things where it's like, I knew what we needed to do to get an offer accepted, but two things. It needs to be within your comfortability level.
Okay.
So we would always go over, like with the buyer, I would always say, listen, we're submitting an offer, it may not appraise for this. How do you feel about these numbers if it doesn't? If you had to come out of pocket and put this, or if you had to change your loan to value ratio, how would you feel about these numbers in regards to your mortgage payment?
Very smart.
Right? So everybody always knew what worst case numbers were. And I always felt like, okay, if you know what worst case numbers are and you feel comfortable with that, and you love the house enough, you know, we'll submit them, let's see where it goes. I mean, and luckily enough, like, also, you got to pitch yourself. So I used to pitch myself.
You used to what?
Pitch myself.
You used to pitch yourself?
I used to pitch myself. I'd be like, listen, with me,
How do you pitch
it's going to be a
yourself?
seamless deal. I have...
You look in the mirror and you're just like...
Yeah, I'm like, I have a home inspector. We can do the inspection today if needed. The lender on file, we've worked together in the past. The attorney on file, we've worked together in the past. Like, we're going to make this as smooth as possible. And I feel like just even speaking to the agents, you can, even from a listing perspective, I can tell with the other agent if, how well the deal is going to go just from initial conversation with them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I have to, so how do you kind of set up and prep your buyers from the beginning? So here's an example. I used to own a Mako body shop franchise, like Obey to get Mako on TV. You familiar with it?
Yeah.
So every sale was exactly the same. And I'm like, fuck, why do I have to go through this? Like, I know we're going to get, like, you're going to come in for $199, you're going to spend $1,500, you're going to give me the keys today. Like, why do you have to go through this? I feel like when you're repping a lot of sellers, it's very similar. No, a lot of buyers, it's very similar because there's a process. They come to you, they don't know anything. They have to go and see houses. They have to get accustomed to the area. They don't want to make offers. Then they start making offers. Then they have to lose a house first. And then ultimately they're like, okay, now we trust you. We're ready to go. So like when you take in these people, when you intake them, what do you do? Like, how do you kind of like prep them, set them up, enable them to trust you and get them ready for battle, especially in a market like that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. That's a great question. A buyer consultation call is super important. I feel like I always try to make time, like, there's certain buyers that are like, they'll send you a house and they'll be like, hey, I saw you on Instagram, like, I'm really interested in this house. Like, of course, I can set up the appointment, we can meet. But first, let's get on a call, right? So I always want to understand what they're looking for, but I also want to set them up for what they're getting themselves into as well.
Let me stop right there for a second.
Yeah.
Is that usually how the interaction goes on social media? Like you get a DM, hey, I see that you're a realtor. I want to go see this house. Can you take me?
Sometimes, yeah. And then other times it's more traditional where it would just be like, hey, I see you're a real estate agent. You seem to, we want to work with you. How can we get started? Right? And I'm like, okay, thank you so much for reaching out. Let's hop on a call. Here's my personal. When are you available to speak?
So, and for agents listening to this, like me being like a trained salesman, this is what they're really saying. I want to buy a house. Help me.
Yeah.
Like, and help me is such a broad thing. It's like, help me throughout this entire process. Like, explain to me how everything works. Explain to me about the pre-approvals, the mortgage people, the attorneys. It's like, you are basically quarterbacking the entire deal.
Exactly.
And I feel like a lot of agents just kind of like rush straight to it, put an offer in, when they have to really, set it up and explain the entire process on like an elementary school level.
Exactly. And that's 100% what it is. Like every single house is going to be different, right? Depending on the areas, depending on what you're looking for too. Like sometimes I have people, they're like, it's a toss up. I'm looking for a condo, but I'm also open to looking for a single family house. Yeah. So it's two different territories.
I'm looking in Queens and I'm also looking in Suffolk.
Yeah, I get that too. Like, or like between, Nassau and Suffolk, where are we looking at? And it really, again, depends on what your numbers look like, what your comfortability looks like. Where do you, I ask, where are you working? Like, are you okay with a commute that's going to be, if we're shifting a little bit further, the commute might be a little bit longer. But depending on how you're getting there, are you driving? Are you taking the Long Island Railroad? Things like that. So yeah, I think a consultation call is super important. It really does prep the buyer to understand the entire process of what's going to happen, or what kind of market condition we're in, what they should expect. And I feel like when people are prepared and at least they have some type of background as to what they're walking into, it's a little bit better for them as they're going through the process.
What do you think sets you apart from other agents? Like 6 agents standing here. Greg's the buyer. Greg's looking to buy a house. He's like, who's the best agent? Why should I work with you?
Okay.
What do you think sets you apart from other agents?
All right. I mean, outside that, it's going to be a real fun process.
There's no pressure here.
You know what? Yeah. Honestly, I'm a problem solver. So if we go into something, I always think ahead. So I'm always just like, even like in a tough market, okay, yeah, you're comfortable with submitting this 30K or 40, 50K above ask offer, right? But I'm like, okay, what can possibly happen if we do submit it, we do get it accepted, right?
Okay.
We could run into an appraisal issue. So I'm always thinking ahead. I'm always going to let you know what could possibly come and how we can avoid certain situations, or how you can prepare yourself for a situation. Take appraisals out of it. Let's say you're purchasing an REO,
Okay.
right?
You do a lot of those?
I've done them.
Okay.
I haven't done recently, but yeah, I've done a few REOs. I can prep you for that too. It's like, general procedure with an REO, the home inspection is going to come after you get into contract on it. You get into contract first, and then you have your due diligence period where you can, or you don't have to. So it's a little bit different in certain aspects, but yeah, bottom line, problem solver. Whatever comes up, there's going to be a solution, and I will be able to fix it for you.
You are unquestionably a foodie. I see lots of food on your Instagram every day.
Compliments to the boyfriend.
Unbelievable. I thought he was a chef. I'm like, this dude's like a 5-star Michelin chef. Like, this guy's cranking out like chicken and waffles and all kinds of like
Oh my God.
amazing things.
So good. So good. Honestly, I can't cook for shit.
That's why it works.
So it totally works. Every day I pretty much come home and I'm blessed. He's like, yeah, he'll be like, what do you feel like having today? And I'm like, oh, we could do salmon and broccoli. Or if I want to be a fatty, I'll be like, let's do like the fried chicken sandwich or something, and he'll whip it up. He loves it. He loves it.
Wow.
And who am I to tell him he can't do what he loves?
There's no argument there. But that's why it works. Do you do the dishes, or he does the dishes too?
He
does the
no,
dishes.
I do the dishes,
Are you
but
sure?
sometimes he does the dishes.
He's awesome.
He's good. He's amazing. He's great.
What is your advice to the, let's see, there's 38,000 realtors on Long Island. Let's say 20,000 of them are under 40. What is your advice to the other 20,000 realtors that didn't win top 20 under 40 but aspire to do that one day? What do you think they need to do to get there?
I think just stay focused. I'm a big believer in like short-term goals that will lead to the bigger picture. So you always have your bigger picture, but what are your short-term goals to help you get there, right?
Okay.
And just to be consistent, like don't give up, even when you're in a market where it seems like it's slowing down, or you're not getting offers accepted, or maybe you don't have as much clientele. Just keep doing. Every little thing is going to, every little video you post, or every educational, tip that you post on social media, or door knocking, little things like that, big things like that. I actually went door knocking yesterday.
Nice.
And yeah, so, but yeah, just keep pushing. I feel like as long as you're consistent and you're persistent and you stay focused on what goals you have in front of you, you'll make it out.
As far as your social media and marketing in general, do you have kind of like a system to it? Like we have a clear system with like, we're putting out X amount of videos per day, this type of video per platform, et cetera. Do you have a thing where you're like, I have to put it on X amount of stories, X amount of posts, or I have to go door knocking a certain amount of times a week? Do you have like a regimented kind of marketing schedule, or do you just do it?
I just do it. But again, like I do like structure. So like, for example, door knocking, I was telling Melissa, the broker of ERA, I was like, we need to make it a point that we're going door knocking at least like twice a week. It's nice weather, why not? And like we should just have it on the calendar, put it on, And the same thing with social media, I can be better at it. I do want to be better with it. It's kind of something that I've always started, and it was fun from the beginning, and I always just carried it through. But I definitely could be more structured with that. And I love how you're awesome with it.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's something that we worked on, and it developed over time. But it'll change your life. Like it is a total game changer. And the more you do it, like there's a lot of people that are like, you post too much. But at the end of the day, and they're like, I don't watch him anymore. I'm like, you don't need to watch him. I just need you to see me. Like you don't have to watch the video because there's just so many of them who wants to. I don't even watch them, right? But if you have a house that smells like cat pee and you see my video there, you'd be like, oh, I got to call that guy.
Yeah.
But if I wasn't posting 300 times a day and torturing your life, you might not.
No, I totally agree. And I feel like with somebody that I do get traction from social media, which is great, I need to do more, because imagine how much more I could potentially, how many
Without a
more
doubt.
people I can reach and help.
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
And it just
so-
builds upon itself. So final question, right? Since that you were speaking about short and long-term goals, you're very young. You have a lot of time. Do you feel like you're young?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people are like, I'm 30. I'm not young anymore. I'm like, 30 is really freaking young. Like life starts at 30.
Yeah, no, I go through my periods. I'm like, oh, I'm getting old. But then I'm like, no, I'm young.
You're not getting old. You're not. What are your short and long-term goals?
Short term, I guess for the end of this year, I do want to close out at least 30 deals.
Okay.
I think I've done either 18 or 19 so far. So
Wow, that's good. There's plenty of time left.
yeah, so we have some time. So at least 30. That's
Okay.
the goal, short term. Long term goals, I mean, I would love to be in the investment capacity. Yeah. So looking up to you. I look at your videos. I see what you do.
Rental, thank you. Rental properties or flips?
Both.
Yeah?
Both. I feel like, I mean, ideally, I want to get an investment property before I even get my own property.
That's very smart.
yeah.
I mean, I post this stuff all the time, but I don't know if you've ever seen it or not. Like, I'm 42. I own 100 plus rental properties. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment.
I know.
Oh, okay, just saying. So
yeah, no, I
nothing
see
wrong
it.
with that.
Yeah,
And there's
no, I
nothing
see
wrong with
it.
buying a house
Yeah.
if you want to. But do you have any questions for me? Investment related questions? We're here.
Yeah, I totally have a lot of questions for you. I mean,
Hit me with 3.
okay. For my first hold property,
Okay,
is
got it.
there anything I should be looking at in regards to, I guess, like, what's a smart investment? If it's going to be, like, would you say a single family, 2 family, for even just as an investment?
Okay, so what kind of property do I think would be the best for your first investment? So it really depends. Like when people get into investing, as they get into it later, a lot of them always say like, I should have went bigger. Like I bought a single family house or I bought a duplex. I should have bought just like a 30-unit apartment building. Because once you get the mechanics of it, you're just like adding more zeros.
Got it.
It's the same kind of thing.
Okay.
But my opinion, I do a lot of single family rentals. I think single family rentals are like the now and the future. There's certain things that are tough about them in the sense that like if you have a lot of them, they're tougher to manage. But I've never seen any investment get the same type of return as a single family. I'll give you a very quick example. A couple years back, I mean, and this is a highlight reel. Obviously they're not all like this, but like Zoom, Hubzu, those.
Yeah.
So when that first came out and everybody's like, you're nuts, you're buying houses like on a computer, sight unseen, what is wrong with you? I bought a house in Patchogue for $70,000 with people in it. I went and talked to the people, ended up turning them into tenants. I put $20,000 into it and then the bank appraised it at $240,000.
Wow.
And I refinanced out and I still was making money, an infinite return month over month. You're never going to get that with
That's
like
amazing.
with an apartment building. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's a highlight reel.
Yeah.
But the point is, I think the biggest thing for you is if you want to do that is, and you should start now because you're really young, is getting the education. Like once you understand all the nuances and the moving parts to it, then you'll feel comfortable. And it doesn't matter. Like when you get an opportunity, because you're out in the world doing this every day. So whether you get a single family, a 10-unit apartment building, a triplex, whatever it is, you're ready to go because you know what to look for.
Got it. Yeah.
So that's the first one.
No, that's solid. That's amazing.
Next one.
Got me on the spot here.
Sorry. We'll do one more. Or we don't have to. It's up to you. It's your show.
No, it's your show. I'm just on it. Thank
It's
you for
our
having
show
me.
today.
No, but I'm definitely gonna pick your brain.
I'm always here as a
Yeah.
resource. It was an absolute pleasure. If anybody's out there looking to buy or sell, how do they get a hold of you?
You can reach me on my social media at Closing with Kat on Instagram, or you can shoot me a text or give me a call, 718-736-4009.
Katherine, Azeez, thank you very much for coming down. Really, really appreciate it. Top
Thank
20
you.
under 40. Obviously, if you have something like Cat P, I want to buy it. 516-777 sold. Don't forget the captain, even though I'm no longer the captain. 516-513-8838. And obviously, this podcast and every podcast is sponsored by Cardinal Financial, but more specifically, Sal Rizzolo, the man, the myth, the legend from Cardinal Financial. That's a wrap. That's it. See?
Awesome.
See, 40 minutes feels like 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, that was, I mean, you make it easy.
No, you're good though. Like, you're
the
really good at this stuff.
best.